You want to know some tips and tricks for the Sony Xperia 5 Mark IV? I think I have some very interesting ones for you. Most of the tips and tricks here that I will show you are just buried within the settings here, so there's nothing like out of the ordinary, but not everyone has time to take a look at all the different settings that are available here for their devices. So I will show you one of my favorite settings that I found on the Xperia 5 Mark IV that I like to enable. So here we have the Xperia 5 Mark IV, and the first thing that we have to do is go into our settings, ignore those messages, go to the settings and check out, for example, our network settings. I'll make it a little bit darker so I can read what's going on here. And network, we go first in here, we go to Wi-Fi, and here we have various different settings. Under network preferences, we have the possibility to turn on Wi-Fi automatically when you're near high quality saved networks, like your home network, for example. This might be very interesting if you want to make sure that you are connected to the Wi-Fi of your home and not using your data. And also you can turn off notify for public networks, especially useful if you're in a big city on a vacation or something like this and all the public networks are popping up all the time. You can disable this as well if you like to. You can install some certificates and have Wi-Fi direct here access as well. We have some saved network settings. We have add network. This is pretty useful and interesting. You can click on here and can scan a QR code of a network, for example, that you want to join. And of course, the same way you can also create, let me go, for example, in this one here, you can create a QR code from a network that you're connected to where you entered the Wi-Fi password already. If you want to share it with a friend or a guest that comes to your house, you just press the share button here. It will show you a QR code with all the settings, and the password is well included. So easy way to share your Wi-Fi. And of course, we have some other options here on the network, like the hotspot and tethering option, the data saver, which is very interesting if you want to save a little bit of data if you're not connected to Wi-Fi. Might be very interesting how for people who want to preserve a little bit of data. Otherwise, we have the private DNS that we can set up here. If you want to set up a different DNS than what is provided by your carrier, for example, you can do this. The Google one, 888.111.999 from Quad DNS is also very popular here. And we have some smart connectivity features here as well. Use mobile network when Wi-Fi quality is poor. I would recommend you to do this, especially useful when you really are connected to poor airport Wi-Fi or train Wi-Fi or something like this, and you still want to have a good experience when watching some video, streaming some music or something like this, then turn this on. Prevent auto connection to poor quality Wi-Fi networks as well, so it will not connect automatically to Wi-Fis that are too poor to transfer good content. So this is some settings that I think by default are checked, but just make sure you have them checked. If you otherwise have problems with your Wi-Fi, try to uncheck them and see if this fixes the issue for you. We have some device connection things here, just like, for example, Bluetooth devices that I can see, but I have various different other connection preferences here. I can go into Bluetooth, I can pair new devices, of course, I can change the Bluetooth name, I can receive stuff via Bluetooth, but I also have the possibility to connect to a Chromebook, for example. Use nearby share. I think by default is disabled, but you can enable it. It is bound to your Gmail address, as you can see here, my Google mail address. And I can share between devices that use the same Google address very, very quickly. Otherwise, between other devices, it's basically like an AirDrop feature for Android devices that use Google's Android version. Android Auto is here. External monitor, very interesting because the Xperia device has a specialty. You can use the Xperia as a monitor for an external device, and you can turn this on here. If you turn this on, then you be able to use your Sony A7 Mark III or A7 Mark IV or something like this and output its video feed directly to this device using a USB Type-C adapter. It's also written here, and if you enable it, it will also install a new app icon that allows you to call this every time you need this feature. So very, very important for those. It's also available for the One Mark IV and other devices. We have some casting options for TV speakers, TVs and speakers, like the casting option for TV, but also the screen mirroring option that you have here as well available. And then we have some USB external output as well, because the USB Type-C can not only put in video, but also it has the possibility that it can produce video. So you can connect it to a big, large television if you want to, and you have the option here to change this. So you can change some settings, like having automatically setting the default output, or you can set it up here. And the same goes for the audio. You can see you have various different audio settings that you can set up here. If you have something connected, you have all the possibilities to do so and change the output. If you want to, for example, connect to a television via USB Type-C, but want the audio to go out via the headphone jack on the top to your stereo speakers or something like this, you have the possibility to check this here. Then we have NFC. I have NFC turned off by default. I don't need it, especially if I have a second phone or something like this and they come close together. It's always like popping up like smart tag detected or something like this, which is super, super annoying, opening up some applications that I really don't want to and such things. Also, it saves a little bit of power if you don't use NFC. I don't use NFC on my Xperia devices, also not for paying. I have another phone for paying. And so I can turn off NFC, don't need it. Saves a little bit of battery as well. A specialty on the Xperia devices, wireless controllers for PS5 and PS4 are available, so you can connect them here as well, pair a new controller, and then use them for gaming, which is very, very useful. And of course, we have a printing service that allows us to print stuff out. And let's go back. We come to apps here. We have all the different apps. We have the screen time of apps, which is very, very useful sometimes, especially if you find like, maybe sometimes the battery is running out too fast. You can check here about the screen time and which is a battery hog, which one is using the most of your screen time here in this application. Otherwise, we have unused apps, which are very interesting because you can put some apps in here, which, it's not really deleting, it's just deactivating them somehow. And we have default apps, very interesting for people who like to change defaults. If you don't like the Chrome browser, but you like Firefox, for example, you can easily switch the default browsing application to Firefox here. If you have a anti-spam app or a caller ID app, you have the possibility to do this here as well, change it. The same goes for Digital Assistant. If you don't like the Google Assistant, you like to use Amazon's Alexa or something like this, you can change this here. Otherwise, you have also the possibility to change certain things of the Google Assistant as well here, like the voice input or something like this. We have the Home app that we can also change to another Home app if you have another launcher installed, which is possible. And of course, you have the possibility to configure your Home app. And what I like to do is like a show quick search box. I have this turned off. So I don't have on my home screen this little Google search button or search bar that I really don't like. So this is that. Let's go back here. And we have the same capability for the SMS app to change. One thing, open links, also very interesting. Sometimes you don't want a link to be opened up in the application, but rather in the browser. You can set this up here. So if you don't want Amazon to open up all the Amazon links in the Amazon app, which sometimes can be a little bit frustrating, especially if you're browsing the Amazon US store, for example, or you want to browse the Amazon US store, and it's like saying in the app, do you want to change the country of your location? And nope, I just want to see the product on the US store. Then you can have this turned off here, for example, for the Amazon Shop app. There might be different examples why you want to turn this off. For example, if you have YouTube Advanced and YouTube installed, you want to make sure that only one of them grabs the YouTube links and not the other one. And we have some notification settings. Battery settings, very interesting here, is the stamina mode. So the stamina mode turns on at 20%. You can configure this here on my Xperia Pro. I have it set to 30% because it has a smaller battery and it's running out a little bit faster. So I want to preserve the battery a bit here. 20% makes sense. We have also the possibility to set the stamina level. By default, it's battery time preferred, but you can also go to balanced power saving. By default, it's balanced power saving. So where it is like background data is a little bit delayed. And we have some other settings here as well. But a battery time preferred will make the device even slower, but will then really save a lot of batteries, which might be very, very useful, especially if you don't want to run out of battery in a day or something like this, or you really need the device for sure. So those are the battery settings. So I recommend you to do this, but try it out first because it really gets slow. Just like use it as an emergency mode if you really need the device and cannot charge it up. Otherwise, we have also the battery care option here, which allows us, I have it turned to auto, but you can set it up to a custom value to not charge the device as quick as possible to 100% and let it sit there from 3 o'clock to 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock when you get up in the morning. Just have it to auto where it learns it. It's charging up to 80% quick, and then it's waiting those few hours to charge it up to 100%. So when you wake up and you take your phone out in about at 7 or 8 o'clock or something like this, it will be then 100% charged just a few minutes before. So this is like a very good option if you want to preserve your battery. Turn it on, let it turn on auto. We have the battery share function here, which allows us to share. So this might be very interesting if you want to charge your wireless headphones, for example, or another smartphone in a pinch or something like this. You have the ability to do this also on the Xperia 5 Mark IV now, the 1 Mark IV and all the ones that have this wireless charging option. Then that is it. Storage, there's a nice option here, which is called Free Up Space. And this is basically the garbage collector here on this device. So if I click on this, it opens up Google Files. It gives us information about the internal space, the external space if you have the SD card installed. And it also gives us the option to clean up junk files, temporary app files taking up space. You can see here I can clean up 899 megabytes. And usually this is safe. And I say, yes, clear it up. And now I saved 899, something like this, gigabytes. And it makes really sense to take a look at here, but it's because sometimes you have some temporary files there and it can be in the gigabytes. And this is like, really helpful if you are running out of space quickly. Then you have also delete duplicates. So it's also showing you duplicate files also, and also unused application of applications that are very big and large that you probably don't need to, like Genshin Impact for sure is very large. Or video files that you can delete, like in this case, delete large files. In my case, I had a lot of video files, of course, tests here on the Xperia 5 Mark IV, so I can delete them here as well. So very useful, this application that you can find under the storage option. Otherwise, you can, I think, also call Google Files and find it there, but I always go through this here, which makes a lot of sense. Then we have sound options. Sound options are very interesting because audio settings are very interesting. Here, I really like to enable Dolby sound because it produces a little bit better sound than without Dolby enabled. So I have this enabled, but I have it not set to dynamic because sometimes I get this like 3D stereo effect that I really don't like. So I have music set here as I usually, even if I watch podcasts or videos or something like this on YouTube, music makes a lot of sense for me, but you can try out the various different ones. Maybe you are also happy with the dynamic one. And oops, I forgot to show you advanced settings where you can set up even more. Like here you have the various different options. You can set up even in custom EQ if you want to. So very useful. We have all the other options here. 360 reality audio. I don't like this, so I turned it off, but you can turn it on as well as DSSE Ultimate and effect priority as well, where we can have this effect is turned on for 360 or DSSE Ultimate. You can turn this, set it up for various different devices. Intelligent wind filter, by default, I think it's turned off. I would like really to turn it on, especially if I want to record something without a microphone on and it's using the onboard microphones and there's wind nearby. Makes sense to have it on because it's very good in filtering this out. This is basically everything for the audio settings here. In sound settings, you have some other options, just like, for example, do not disturb. I really like to have do not disturb on a schedule. So at night, I have a sleeping option here that it's not like disturbing me. Turned it on. And yeah, this is the do not disturb mode that I really like to do. Otherwise, the media options you have here, we can say, okay, pin the media player, as you can see here. Where's the media player? There we have a media player playing back like some audio podcast or something like this. I can turn it off, don't have it pinned, or show media recommendations, which is like configurable here. The rest is like, I think, pretty much self-explanatory, and I really don't have anything that I have to set up here. Under display settings, I have more things to set up. Image quality settings, I like to have, in this case, the standard mode here, auto creator mode as well. What I don't like to have is the video image enhancement, because this messes up not only the video files sometimes in Google Photos or something like this, but also when you convert or edit photos or videos, it can mess up their colors, which I really don't like. So I have this turned off, and I think it's by default turned on. So if you have problems with messed up colors, turn this option on or go to the creator mode directly, and you don't have any problems with this video enhancement thing. A real-time HDR drive is also possible here to turn it on, but the standard mode is fine for me here. The white balance, you can set it up like you want to. I have it like by default, but you can also, I like, some people have it to medium here, which makes it a little bit warmer as well. And if you can see here, I think it's also getting a bit brighter, but this is like something that you have to check out for yourself. High refresh rate is something that I turn on because I want very fast refresh rate. If I have 120 Hertz, I want to use it. Otherwise, if you want to preserve battery, turn it off, and you have like an even longer battery life, which is really cool. It will last you a lot of time. Otherwise, we have default display size, where you can set up the size here. Fonts and display, we have the dark theme. I really like to use a schedule here from sunset to sunrise, which makes a lot of sense. And we have dynamic color, customizable color scheme of notifications and so on. So this is, I think, a new setting that came in here, which will be based upon your wallpaper. Grab the colors out there and set the pronounced colors, the primary colors here. This is, as you can see, I clicked something else. This is one interesting thing that you can do. Otherwise, lock screen preferences. I really like to set up a different clock here. By default, we have the Sony clock 3, but you can also set this another Sony clock loop, which looks pretty nice if I turn it off, and I have to tap or do something with the phone for the always on screen to appear. There we go, always on screen appeared, and there we have now a circular clock. I like this one better than the other ones, but you can set it up here, and this is a bit of customization options that you have with your device, which is, I think, pretty okay as well. So this is that. Then we have some other options here, like tap to show lock screen. So what I can do, I don't have to do what I did before. I can just do this and then tap, and then it shows the lock screen, for example, and also the nice circular clock that's also appearing on the lock screen as well. You can use a fingerprint to unlock. So tap to lock, to show lock screen if you like to do this. Otherwise, if you have issues with like this draining the battery, because if you have it in your pocket, it's like accidentally touching and tapping and showing the lock screen, and turn it off. Wake up display on key press is also possible. Pressing any hardware button, shutter, volume keys, or something like this turns on the screen. I think this was the default in 1 or 2 Xperia devices prior. This is now configurable here, and of course, if you want to have a lock screen message, you can also put it in here. Then show notifications, show all notifications and content. Otherwise, only show sensitive content only when unlocked, or don't show notifications at all on the lock screen. I have show all notifications because I usually I'm not giving my phone to other people, so it doesn't really matter. You can also have keep notifications until you swipe to dismiss them. So also a nice option. Sleep mode, I like to have it like 5 minutes because I have to present to you most of the time the screen here. And we have auto screen side sense as well, option here, one-handed mode, which allows you to do this here, the one-handed mode. I really like to enable it. Sometimes it might be handy And yeah, we can set up a screensaver if you like to, and turn on the night light if you want to. You can also set up a schedule here from sunset to sunrise, for example, so the screen dims a bit, gets a bit more yellowish, so to save or preserve your eyeballs. Under appearance, we have also some options here. And this allows you to set the always on display, for example, the new notifications that will show up, the sticker that you want to have. So you can have a sticker to customize it more. There are some predefined stickers, but you can also set one from your photo library. So you can set up, yeah, I don't know, a sticker like this here, for example, and it will appear then, save copy, it will appear then on your lock screen. Let's check this out. And not the lock screen, the always on screen. Let's get the always on screen working. There you go, the always on screen. It's not showing up here because it's showing the logo of the podcast that is playing here. But usually it would show it up. Otherwise, we have when to show ambient display, and this is the one option that I want to have: show when device is lifted. So we have to lift the device, play a little bit with the sensors, then it will work. You have smart activation, always on. If you want to have it always on, the always on display, you have the possibility to do this here as well. And yeah, show new notifications, music information on the always on display. And again, the clocks that you can set up here. A multitasking usage guide, not so interesting, I think. And yeah, wallpaper, clear. You can set various different wallpapers here. And yeah, accessibility, you have some options here as well, like for example, text and display. You can optimize them if you want to, bold text, for example. Remove animations if you have problems with the animations, or high contrast text as well. You can set up the dark theme here as well, specifically, and also use a schedule again. Extra dim, if you want to have the screen extra dim, have problems with too bright screens, you can do this as well. And magnification and so on, you can all the stuff that you know you can do. We have text to speech output here as well, and you have the possibility, if you go in here, to configure this as well using Wi-Fi, install voice data. So you can even install the voice data to be offline, so you don't have to always use the internet for various different voice data. And you can set up multiple languages that you can download here. Very interesting. One thing that I want to show you, which I really like to do, is like under security, you have the possibility to set up your fingerprint and screen unlock and so on. On smart lock, you can set it up here. Just let me enter my super secret PIN. And it explains you what smart lock is doing. Your phone is being carried, your home or a trusted space. You don't have to use your finger to unlock the phone, which is very, very cool. So you have very, very different options here, like on body detection. So if it detects it's on your body, smart lock will unlock the phone. If you are in a trusted space, so home, for example, you can set up, or radius even for home, then it will unlock without asking for a PIN. Or a trusted device is close by, like for example a Bluetooth headset or a Bluetooth watch or something like this. It will unlock as well. Very, very cool. But then what I really like to do, if you have problems with the fingerprint reader here, gladly Sony put it in here, is press to unlock with fingerprint. So that means if you have this enabled, and I go in here, if I go in here to unlock, it doesn't work. Very, very useful, because sometimes people have put it in their pocket and they have like, oh, you try to unlock it too many times, you have to use your pattern or pin or something like this to unlock the device. Here, it will not try to read until you press, and then it's reading. So it should actually, yeah, if you press and hold, it will unlock as well. Some people will know this still from the old days of the first fingerprint readers on Sony devices that had this option. Very, very handy, and indeed something that is unique to the Xperia 1 Mark V. For now, at least, I could imagine that the Android 13 update or upgrade on the 1 Mark IV will also bring this to you. That's basically, there's so many settings in here, but these are my favorite settings. So I think I gave you now the big overhaul of various different settings that you have here on your Xperia devices that you can do. And I think I talked more than 20 minutes already in terms of settings and options and tricks that you can do with your Xperia devices, in this case the 5 Mark IV. If you have some very nice, interesting settings or even apps that you like to use with Xperia devices, write them down in the comment section. That's everything for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Until the next time. Bye.